Elections are a notoriously stressful time.
I honestly think I might be in hell.
Veep, a political satire following Vice President Selina Meyer struggles to reach the top office, loved using its comedy to give us a hilarious, cringe-worthy, and surprisingly realistic look into the dark heart of politics and the election cycle.
Why is this so hard? I just want to be president.
Do you want 6 almonds?
So let's take a closer look at the rather horrifying truths that Veep laid bare about our elections, and why they're so miserable for all of us. And how, in the end, even with all of the chaos, the show gave us a bit of hope. Before the nightmare of the elections themselves comes the chaos of the campaign. Veep was no stranger to making it clear just how incompetent so many of the people that were supposed to be in charge really were.
Can mice levitate, Mike? Can they levitate and fire lasers out of their mouse eyes?
No.
Well, then we've just asked each other equally ridiculous questions.
As well as how their cynical, detached view of the world allowed them to see politics not as an important part of civic life and making changes in the country, but as a game to be won no matter the costs.
Call me naive, but isn't that unethical?
You're naive. Welcome to politics.
So it's no surprise that when it comes time for these people to start running a campaign for president, things start to go off the rails. One of the worst parts of campaigning that Veep did a great job of skewering is the willingness of those vying for power to compromise on pretty much everything if they think it will score them a few points. From flip-flopping on integral tenets of their platform, to lying to the public, to straight up giving up on even basic morals.
Tell me that you did not just trade away same-sex marriage to get Buddy Calhoun's endorsement.
Catherine, it is just the party platform.
Selina campaigns for president twice, and each time she gives up more and more just for the hope of securing the nomination and then the presidency. She's willing to take on board people that she detests, not because she sees something special in them that she hadn't before, but just because it's what the political minds felt would play best and make it most likely for them to win.
There is no place for Jonah Ryan in my administration or anywhere in the universe where the building blocks of life are present. I want to offer Jonah the VP slot.
What?
Yeah, it's the only move we have left now.
In her campaigns, we also see the depth to which that detachment from real people and problems causes Selina to give up on even the things that she had worked so hard for, torpedoing her own reputation and putting other people at risk, all because it's what will get the powerful people who pull the levers on her side.
Federal lands.
They need to be protected.
We need more drilling.
For drilling purposes. Let's frack the crap out of it.
The show is obviously meant to be satirical, and so turns everything up to an absurd degree. But, as with all of the best satire, it's born out of a kernel of truth, which is also what makes it so painful to watch. The campaigns are always miserable, but there's the idea that it'll all be worth it because it's all in the service of something bigger and better, and then the elections happen. Election days are always pretty stressful affairs for us regular people watching and waiting, but Veep gives us a look into the chaos happening inside the machine.
Stealing South Carolina is the bedrock of our political system, Senator.
Oh, well, there it is. That casual Meyer attitude towards criminal enterprise.
We've all come to be pretty tired of the horse race mentality the media takes with elections, and the show underlines both the absurdity and the resulting stress. At the end of season 4, Selina, who had been made president after President Hughes stepped down to support his wife, is running to be voted into office. Election day started out not great and didn't really get any better. Selina was down in the Electoral College by a pretty wide margin, though in their haste to declare winners, some uncertain calls were made that then had to be rescinded. But even with that, things looked bleak for Selina, and she was ready to concede.
Screw this whole sloppy backseat job of a night anyway. I don't give a shit.
Eventually, it seemed that the loss was too certain to ever turn around, and so Selina made the call to officially concede defeat. While she was literally on the phone with her opponent, the news came in that actually the numbers had been wrong again, this time in Pennsylvania, a key swing state, and it actually ended up going for Selina. But the celebration was short-lived because in a surprising turn of events, the election ends in the first ever tie.
Why make the total of electoral votes an even number?
Insanity.
Which means that Selina and her team have to keep fighting and trying to find a path to secure a win. And a win that doesn't end up with Tom taking her spot as president through some bureaucratic loopholes. After months of work and more ties, Selina loses. To a normal person, this would probably be a sign that giving up everything and turning your back on the things and people that matter to you in your quest for glory was a fool's errand and that you should change course. But for a politician, it's just a sign that they need to become worse and give themselves over to the machine completely to win. And that's just what Selina does.
I didn't come to North Carolina to lose. I don't even like to change planes here.
In season 7, Selina is yet again on the campaign trail, but this time the mask is fully off. She decided that becoming president was the only thing that mattered, and she was going to do whatever it took to secure her place in the Oval Office.
And just tell them they can violate me with their assault rifles and a full slab of ribs on top of a stack of slavery-free history textbooks.
She turns on everyone in her life and is willing to flip on any position no matter how important and give up any last semblance of humanity.
Couldn't have done it without you.
Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere.
And it works. But we see how it's a hollow victory. Sure, she has the office and the power she desired, but she's given up everything and everyone that would make it feel like a success. Selina's ending really hits home how the point of politics shouldn't be just to win, but to keep focused on what really matters and how you can change things for the better once you get that power. But over the seasons, the show of course makes it clear how difficult it is to stay on that path. How at every step of the way, there's someone or something that wants to create a roadblock to progress. And while Selina's story and ending are pretty bleak, the show did also give us some brighter spots as it reached its final conclusion. An election is never really the end of the road, but rather the beginning of the work, regardless of whether you win or lose. After her first failed run, it was time to recalibrate, unfortunately for the worse. And after her win, she has to deal with the reality of all of those compromises she made and people she hurt and angered to get there. Selina was a look at the dark side of politics, how it can make you give up any semblance of self in your grasping for power. She also doesn't even really end up with the respect and admiration that she had so long desired.
Meyer is fondly remembered for briefly freeing what was once known as the Nation of Tibet, as well as for permanently overturning same-sex marriage. I'm sorry, breaking news, I've just been told that 4-time Academy Award-winning actor Tom Hanks has died.
As we talked about in our video on the series finale, Selina giving up Gary to save herself is the ultimate indicator of how she let her greed and desire for a win overshadow everything else.
We can't have a damaged nominee.
I know.
Somebody's going to go down for this, Selina.
Gary was the one person who was always in her corner, no matter what she did or how horrible she was to him. She turns on him to finally secure her own power, but that means she ends up totally alone. She's put herself in a very precarious position. She ostensibly has the power, but she has no one else there to stand up for or with her, or who even understands or cares about her.
I'm starving. Gary?
Oh, ma'am, Gary doesn't work here.
I know. Why are you telling me things that I already know?
Sorry.
Many of the other characters also end up on pretty negative paths as well. While maybe they didn't go quite as far into the darkness as Selina, they did also do a lot of pretty bad stuff in their own individual quests to be near power. But we're also shown another way, the paths of the people who chose not to let the political machine corrupt them completely, and still managed to find success. Sue is Sue until the end.
The president told me to pencil you in to have pass. Go f yourself.
When I am president,
You won't be.
If you want to work for me,
I don't.
then I would start treating me with the respect that I deserve.
I am.
Kent, who had become completely disillusioned with politics after seeing just how far everyone else was willing to go to win, ended up choosing a different path for his life completely. Catherine was able to remove herself from her mother's orbit and create a better life for herself with people that actually care about her.
You know, Richard, there are few things in life more difficult than the loss of a parent.
Who wants margaritas?
Kimmy goes on to be a 2-term president. There had been a pervasive idea among the politicos that her more progressive ideas would never work, that they were just pie-in-the-sky thinking that could never gain ground or secure a real win. But she proves them wrong twice. Richard kept his kind nature and disinterest in dirty politics, and used that to propel himself into the Oval Office too. He didn't have to play the horrible political games and cheat and lie to get there. And in fact, that good nature that he was originally bullied for ends up being what makes him such a great president.
Basking in the glow of a landslide re-election following President Splet's historic three-state solution Middle East peace agreement, for which he won the Nobel Prize.
While the show was, at its core, about sending up and exposing the negativity and corruption that surrounds and infects politics, it made sure to also include these kinds of stories to highlight that there is another way. It is difficult and you'll get flack from all sides for trying, but it is possible to work towards real, lasting transformation of our society, from a local to global scale. Veep was a reflection of the era and political landscape in which it aired, but it also held out hope that we'd be able to create a better tomorrow in future elections, choosing better leaders for that top spot. Elections will probably always be pretty nerve-wracking, but we can move our way towards positive change.
After your electrifying speech just 2 nights ago, party insiders are calling you Richard Splett, future of the party.
Honestly, I'm glad that what I said resonated with folks.
That's the take. Click here to watch the video we think you'll love, or here to check out a whole playlist of awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications.